All right, here we go with episode 3 of Poolside Sales Chat. This is Bernie Borges, executive producer of the Social Business Engine, and this is Poolside Sales Chat. And the first thing that I think you will notice is that there's no pool beside me. Not this week. No. In fact, normally I do this on Friday afternoons, but it's Thursday, and I don't know if you can kind of guess the landscape behind me, but that is beautiful San Francisco. I am at a relative's house, my sister-in-law's house, and she's located up in the Twin Peaks area, and it overlooks this beautiful skyline of San Francisco. So instead of being by the pool this week, I am by the San Francisco landscape here, and there's all kinds of background noise, and we're just going to roll with it. I hope it's tolerable on your side. So here we go. This week I want to talk about a topic that, quite frankly, I think needs more attention, specifically for me. So I kind of feel like I'm talking to myself in this scope here, although hopefully it's relevant to some of you out there in scope land. So this past week I had the pleasure and the honor of attending Social Media Marketing World. Social Media Marketing World is considered the Super Bowl of social media conferences because it's the largest. It's put on by Mike Stelzner and his team at Social Media Examiner. And I had the privilege and the honor of moderating a panel at Social Media Marketing World. And on that panel, let me see if I can bring this up here. On that panel, I got with 3 other people from 3 big brands, namely IBM, Dell, and Avery Dennison. Specifically, they were James Moat from Avery Dennison, Connie Brown from Dell, and Sandy Carter from IBM. And we talked about how to organize cross-functional marketing across the entire business. So the conference was 2.5 days long, and there's one thing that I focused on at this conference that really inspired me for this week's scope, and that is that relationship building, person to person, face to face, man, it trumps all things digital. It really, really does. And look, I'm a digital guy, but there's nothing that beats that face to face relationship. So one of the things that I've started to do pretty recently in my conference attendance is that I don't attend all the sessions. Instead, I look for opportunities to meet with people person to person, face to face while I'm at the conference. And I schedule some time with them and, have a specific topic that I want to cover with them that's relevant to them, relevant to me. It may or may not be someone that is a potential client for me. It may be just someone that I want to get to know better and just start to build a relationship with. And what I really focus on in those conversations is I really focus on getting to know the person. Sure, we're going to cover some business, of course, because they're there for business as well. But I really focus on getting to know them as a human being, getting to know their likes, their habits, their hobbies, their families. And to whatever extent I can, really just build authentic human relationships with them. And, when it comes to, what the world now calls social selling, although we at Social Business Engine prefer to call it social business practice or being a social business practitioner, right? We get too hung up on all things digital. We get too hung up on how to tweet and how to use LinkedIn and all that. And, all that's good. I mean, look, I've been on social media since about 2007. I've been on Twitter since about 2009. And I'm active. Again, I'm a digital guy, right? But when it comes to attending a conference, and I'm using the example of a conference here, so maybe you can just kind of transfer this over to however it makes sense for you. Maybe it's going to a local event in your community, whatever it may be. Just really focus on building those personal relationships. So one of the things that I do after I spend some time with them one-on-one, and again, I really try to go out of my way to get to know them a little bit. And sometimes it's not appropriate. Sometimes they only have 30 minutes and you want to cover something and there's limited time. I get that. But to whatever extent it's possible, if you can just make that connection, that human to human connection. But here's the thing. It's got to be authentic. It's got to be genuine. You can't fake it because people are smart. The people are going to see right through that. So you have to be a people person, right? You have to really authentically and genuinely and honestly really want to connect with people one-on-one. So after a conference, after I've had that opportunity to just sit down with someone one-on-one, I always do some follow-up. Now, I'll admit in the past, I've really been kind of bad at that. I would get back to my normal routine. I would get kind of sucked into the day-to-day routine, and frankly, I would forget, even though I made a note to myself. But I've really kind of gotten disciplined recently about doing that. And there's three different ways that I'll do a follow-up. One is I have a branded thank you card. Yes, a printed branded thank you card. And I will mail a thank you card. Now, sometimes I don't have a business address on someone, so you can't do that. The other downside to that is that it's not going to show up for a few days, right? So that kind of time lag, as we live in this hyper-fast digital world, there's something to be said for that. And sometimes people don't even get through their mail for weeks at a time, right? But that's not a bad thing either. If they're getting your thank you card even 4 weeks later, it sets you apart, because quite frankly, not too many people do that. Okay, obviously the other way to do it is you can send an email, and that's very common, and I've done that, and I still do that, but it's common. Here's the third way, and this does not work in every scenario, I get that. But I've recently started using Snapchat pretty regularly, right? I'm posting to my story every single day. If you're on Snapchat, I invite you to follow me. I'll follow you back. My Snapchat handle is bernie.borges. So if I meet with someone who's on Snapchat, I send them a personal video. Now, sometimes I have to do it 2, 3, 4, 5 times because you only get 10 seconds. And sure, you can do multiple videos, but I only want to do one because I only want to fill up their stream with just one little note from me. But I will send them a personal video that just says, hey, thanks, I really appreciate the time to meet with you, really enjoyed our conversation, etc., whatever it may be, and look forward to, whatever some next step might be, or not, just have a great day. That sets you apart. But again, I know it doesn't work in all scenarios. I know it's only when you're dealing with someone or you met with someone who's also on Snapchat. So you know what, if you're sitting down with someone, ask them, hey, are you on Snapchat? Hey, can I follow you? So why am I not seeing, oh, there we go. So just think about ways that you can, make that person-to-person connection with people, whether you're at a conference, whether you're at a local event, even with existing clients, right? Sometimes even existing clients, if you send them a personal note, even after just a meeting, that just says, hey, really appreciate your time today, excited about what we discussed, and looking forward to continuing the conversation. Just make it personal. So just to wrap this up, because I like to keep these poolside sales chats, even though I'm not by the pool today, I like to keep them relatively brief, okay? Just to kind of wrap this up. The whole point that I'm really trying to rant on today is just the concept of don't allow this digitally connected world that we live in to dominate the way that you engage with people, dominate the way that you try to do business with people. Go out of your way to make that person-to-person connection. And of course, you can't always do it person to person or face to face, rather, where you're in the same location. I realize that's not always possible. So, maybe you can hop on a video, whether it's a Zoom.us or GoToMeeting or WebEx or whatever. Pick your platform of choice and try to make that, eyeball to eyeball contact with people. And then again, make sure that you're doing your follow-up and just really focus on getting to know them as human beings, because the old adage is as true today as it was years before. And that is that people do business with people they know, like, and trust. All right, hey, this is Bernie Borges, executive producer of the Social Business Engine. I talk about this on our Social Business Engine site. In fact, I've got a blog post that's called Social Selling Back to the Basics. Again, that's at socialbusinessengine.com. And there's 17 tips that are related to this topic on social selling back to basics. So check that out at socialbusinessengine.com. Again, this is Bernie Borges signing off for this week's Poolside Sales Chat, although not by the pool, in San Francisco. I'll see you next week. See ya.